Hi all, today we are going to discuss about the Verlet loop test. It is used to locate the earth fault and short circuit fault of underground cables even under the high resistance fault conditions. If the fault is low resistance fault or direct fault, so then in that case we can detect using other methods also. If the fault is involving some high resistance, in that case the Verlet and the Murray loop test are the best methods for knowing the location of the cable faults. So the difference between the Verlet and Murray loop test methods is, in the case of Verlet loop test, the total loop resistance involving the cables is determined experimentally rather than depending on the information of resistance per unit length of cable. So in the case of Murray loop test, we have depend on the theoretical value, but here practically we will determine the loop resistance. That is the first one. And the second one, the ratio arms P and Q are fixed resistance and the balance is obtained by a variable resistance. In the case of previous method, that means Murray loop test, these resistance P and Q of the bridge are variable resistances, and this point E is directly connected to a healthy cable and this point C is connected to the faulty cable. But here the C is not directly connected to the faulty cable, it is connected to the faulty cable through some variable resistance S. So this resistance S is varied to get the balance. So let us assume, so this one is a healthy cable and this one is a faulty cable. In order to perform this test also, if you want to know the location of the fault of any cable, there should be at least one healthy cable running parallel to this cable. That means this is a faulty cable and one more healthy cable is laid of same length which is running parallel to this cable. So now what we will do, the far end of both the cables are connected together, and let us assume the fault has happened at location F. Let us assume the fault is having a fault resistance of RF. That means the fault whichever is connected or the leakage current, insulation breakdown happen here to the ground, and that insulation breakdown is not having the zero resistance, it is passing through the ground with some resistance value RF. So I am taking the example case. Getting it? So let us assume the resistance from the test end of the healthy cable up to the location, fault location of the faulty cable, this entire resistance I am taking as R, and the resistance from the fault location to the test end of the faulty cable, so this resistance I am taking as X. Or otherwise we can tell that the resistance of the entire loop, that means the loop involving the healthy cable and the faulty cable, total resistance will be equal to R plus X. So here the setup will be made like this. Here P and Q are maintained constant. So the test voltage or a voltage source is connected to this junction, and here in the second side this is connected to single pole double throw switch. Single pole double throw means, single pole means it will involve a single tongue or single switch, that means single value, and double throw means it can be either connected to position number 1 or position number 2. Single pole single throw means it can be either turned on or turned off. Single pole double throw means it can be either connected to position number 1 or position number 2. So initially the switch will be connected to position number 1 and the S is varied to get the balance, and note down the value of S. So after that what we will do, this switch will be moved to position number 2, again S is varied to get the balance and note down the value of S. Let us assume first case it is S1, second case is it is S2 under balanced condition. So let us see what will be the equivalent circuit, then we will proceed further. So when we are connecting to position number 1, you can see here the bridge circuit is involving voltage source E. That E, it is passing through this terminal 1, it is connected to this junction point. So this is my point. So it is connected to this point. So from this point up to the point C, what is there? Variable resistance S is there. So you can see here, this is the battery. So this battery, one side is connected to PQ junction, another side from the junction, variable resistance is connected between this junction and C, the point C. Getting it? So now from this junction, the remaining part resistance, that means the resistance, this entire resistance will be included in this circuit. So what is the total resistance? That is the loop resistance, that is R plus X. Some of you will have doubt because here it is grounded, so why not the resistance disturbed? Here you have to remember this is a DC source and we have not connected the DC source. So that's why the current can only pass if there is a closed path, because current cannot pass through the ground, because current can only pass the closed path, because closed path is only provided through these branches only. That's why when you are connecting the DC, the current that is supplied by this DC source will not pass through this RF to ground, it will only pass in the remaining path, because the battery is not grounded. Please remember this one. So now when it is connected to switch position number 2, so when it is connected to position number 2, you can see here the negative terminal is connected to ground. So now how the current will pass? Current will pass through the ground, it will reach this point, it will pass through RF and reach the point F. So here the junction location will be F. Same thing I have mentioned here. This is E. Negative terminal, it is connected through RF to a junction. So from this junction, which is connected between C and this F, because this will be the fault location here, F. Between F and C, what is connected? S is connected and X is also connected, resistance of the cable up to that location. So that's why this will be S plus X. And from this point F to the second location or to the P, what is connected here from the fault location? It is the resistance R. So that's why I have represented here the resistance R will be connected. Getting it? I hope the equivalent circuit is clear to you. So before proceeding, let us see the connection diagram for the second case also, because this is for the ground fault. Let us take for the case of the conductor to conductor fault, or it is also called as short circuit fault. Let us assume there are two cables. Between these two cables, the fault has happened at a location F. Again, for measuring this also, at least one healthy cable is required. So this is my healthy cable. Let us assume the resistance from this test end of the healthy cable to the fault of any one of these faulty cables I am representing by R. And from this location of fault to this location, that means to location of this variable resistor, I am representing by X. And this is my faulty cable. So now I am representing the equivalent circuit. When it is connected to position number 1, you can see here the E is connected through 1. It is reaching this junction. It is reaching this junction. And this side variable resistance S is connected. S is connected. Here there is P and Q. So P and Q are represented here. And similarly from this junction to this side, what is the resistance connected? X plus R. Again, the current cannot pass through this second cable because the battery second terminal is not grounded. It are connected to the second cable. That's why current cannot pass through that circuit. Getting it? So that's why this resistance will be equal to R plus X. So now when the switch is moved to position number 2, how the current will pass? From the E negative terminal. How it is connected? It is connected through this faulty cable. That means this cable through the fault resistance to point F. So up to here, because the resistance will be same like this second cable, that's why let us take it as X. So this will be X plus RF. So that's why I have represented X plus RF. This is connected to the fault location. So from this fault location, from this point to point C, what are connected? S is connected, X is connected. X is connected, S is connected. So going to the second side, what is connected? R is connected. So R is connected here. So you can see whether you are going for the case of short circuit fault or the ground fault, in both the cases, the bridge circuit is same in both the cases. Only difference in the bridge circuit is, in this case, this fault resistance is added to the battery source only. The fault resistance is added to the battery source only, and that will not come in the case of the bridge. That's why bridge balance is not disturbed. Both case the condition will be same. So under when you are connecting to position number 1 of the switch, so this is the equivalent circuit. We can write under balance condition P by Q will be equal to R plus X divided by S. R plus X divided by S. Let us assume under balance we get the balance when S is equal to S1 in position number 1. So from this we can tell that R plus X is equal to P by Q times of S1. So here R plus X means it is nothing but the loop resistance. So by connecting to position number 1, actually we are calculating the value of loop resistance practically. So this loop resistance R plus X calculated in equation 1 will be used for calculating the fault location when connected to position number 2. So now when connected to position number 2, the equivalent diagram I have redrawn here. Now when it is connected to position number 2, under balance condition, again same thing, R divided by, now under balance condition this S will be equal to S2. Let us take it as S2. So this will be S2 plus X. So R by X2, S2 plus X is equal to P by Q. So now what I am doing, I am adding 1 on both the sides. So adding 1, this becomes R divided by X plus S2 plus 1 is equal to P by Q plus 1. So when you are adding 1, it will become like this, R plus X plus S2 divided by X plus S2 is equal to P plus Q by Q. Or from this I can calculate X is equal to R plus X into Q, because this Q I have cross multiplied here. So R plus X into Q minus S2 times of P minus S2 times of P divided by P plus Q. S2 times of P divided by P plus Q. You can simplify it, you will get the same answer. So I have directly written the steps. So therefore this value of the X can be calculated by, because we know the value of P and Q both are constant, because they are not variable. S2 is obtained from experiment number 2 and this R plus X is obtained from experiment number 1 or the first experiment. So they are substituted to get the value of the X. Getting it? So now if let us assume if Lx represents the distance of fault point from the test end of the faulty cable, and let us assume L is the total length of the cable. L is the total length of the cable. Total two cables are there. That's why loop length will be equal to 2L. So we can tell that total resistance of the loop is R plus X is proportional to, because resistance is always proportional to length, because R is equal to rho L by A. We already know it. So R plus X is proportional to 2L, and similarly X is also the resistance. It depends on the distance from the faulty end. That means at the test end of the faulty cable to that location, let us assume that length is equal to Lx. So X is dependent on Lx, R plus X is dependent on 2L, or otherwise, because we know the value of R is equal to rho L by A. Getting it? So if you are dividing two resistances R1 by R2, rho is same, A is same in both cases, only lengths will remain. That's why I have written like this: X divided by R plus X is equal to Lx divided by 2L. Or from this I can write Lx is equal to X divided by R plus X times of 2L. So using this I can directly calculate the value of Lx. Because for calculating the value of Lx, we should know the value of X. We should know the value of R plus X multiplied by 2L. So using this also I can calculate the value of Lx directly, because X we can calculate from the experiment and R plus X we can calculate from the first experiment, and 2 times the total length of the cable. Using this also we can calculate. So thus the position of the cable fault can be easily located if the total length of the cable is known. But this also have the limitations similar to the previous method. So both cables are assumed to have uniform cross section throughout the length of the cable. It may not be true practically. For example, if there are too many joints are made in the length of the cable, so wherever the joint is made, at that point the resistance will increase. So because of that, the resistance per unit length based calculation may not give the accurate result. So that will be the disadvantage. If few joints are there, it is not going to affect the result more. If more joints are there in the cable, that is going to affect the result that is obtained. And the next one, effect of temperature variation should also be considered, and correction factor should be taken to avoid any errors. So let us take one example to understand this method completely. In Verlet loop test, the faulty and the sound cables are identical with 0.4 ohms per kilometer. The ratio arms are set at 25 ohms and 30 ohms. The values of the variable resistance connected to faulty cable are 15 ohms and 10 ohms at 2 positions of the switch. Determine the length of each cable and fault distance from the test end. Because we know for the case of Verlet loop test, both the value of P and Q are fixed. It is mentioned P is equal to 25 ohms, Q is equal to 30 ohms, and resistance per unit length or resistance per kilometer, it is given as 0.4 ohms per kilometer. So now that variable resistance what is connected, that S, it is mentioned there S1 is equal to 15 ohms, S2 is equal to 10 ohms, that is mentioned. So it is asked to determine the length of each cable. So when it is connected to position number 1, we know R plus X is equal to P by Q times of S1, we have derived it. Substitute the values, P is equal to 25, Q is equal to 30, and S1 is equal to 15. You will get it as 12.5 ohms. So the resistance of each cable will be equal to, because R plus X is the total resistance of the loop. So for each cable will be R plus X divided by 2. This will be 12.5 divided by 2, that is 6.25 ohms. Now the length of each cable will be equal to, because total resistance we got per cable is 6.25 divided by resistance per unit length. Resistance per unit length is 0.4 ohms per kilometer. So divide with 0.4, you will get your result in kilometers as 15.625 kilometers. So now when it is connected to position number 2, we know the equation R by X plus S2 is equal to P by Q, or adding 1 on both sides, you will get R plus X by S2 divided by X plus S2 is equal to P plus Q by Q, or from this I can calculate X is equal to R plus X times of Q minus S2 into P by P plus Q. This is already derived before. Even in the exam, no need to mug up, you can derive at that instant also. So when you are substituting this, R plus X is already calculated 12.5. I have substituted. Q is equal to 30, and S2 is mentioned there as a 10 ohms, and P is mentioned as 25 ohms divided by 25 plus 30. You will get it as a 2.2727. Therefore, distance of the fault will be equal to 2.2727 divided by resistance per unit length. Resistance per unit length is 0.4. So this will give the result in kilometer, that is 5.682 kilometers. So in this way you have to make the calculate the numericals. So I hope the Verlet loop test is completely clear to you. If you still have any queries, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. I will answer to your queries from there. Thank you very much.